and welcome to the Roy Rogers Riders Club.
Thrill again to the thundering hooves and cattle stampedes, barroom brawls, and shootouts of classic Western features and TV shows. Annie Oakley, Roy Rogers, Gene Autry, John Wayne, and all their cowboy pals and sidekicks roam the West once more. Heroes never die on ComedyMX Channels. They just ride off into the sunset.
This is the story of 26 men who rode the Arizona Territory. Praise be the glory of 26 men who rode the Arizona Territory. Ride on, ride on, ride on.
26 men, carefully chosen for their courage and ability, formed the Arizona Rangers. Fame and public acclaim was not their objective. This is perhaps why the story of these 26 men has never been told until now. July the 14th, 1906. Arizona Ranger Johnny Whitecloud, an Apache of the Pima tribe and a graduate of St. Thomas Indian School, was being decorated for bravery. Ranger Johnny Whitecloud, on behalf of the governor of the Arizona Territory, I'm proud to present you with this medal, in recognition of your bravery above and beyond the call of duty. Congratulations, Johnny.
Thank you, Captain.
God bless you, Johnny. We of St. Thomas are very proud of you.
I'd like to give this medal to the school, Father Diego. You see, it was here I learned there is a place in the white man's world for an Indian.
That's very generous of you, Johnny. This medal will be placed where all of our students can see it and remember. Thank you. Brother Augustine, I think it's time that our children should return to their classes. Captain Rynning, it's a good thing for our children that they have a hero like Johnny, and we're grateful to you for having brought him here today. It just seemed the appropriate place, Father.
I had to talk to you before you left, Johnny.
Shouldn't you be in class with the rest of them?
Yes, but I wanted you to know that I've been studying the book you gave me, and I've learned all of the Morse code and most of the wigwag signals.
That's fine. You've got a new recruit, Captain. This is Peter Red Fox of the Navajo tribe.
How do you do, Peter? The Arizona Rangers always need men. Study hard the way Johnny did. In a few years, we'll talk again. Now, Peter, you better get back to class. You know, it takes a lot more than just sending and receiving code to make a good ranger.
Yes, Father. Goodbye, Johnny.
Goodbye, Peter.
Goodbye, sir.
Bye, Peter. What is it, Travis?
The bank at Payson was held up yesterday, Captain. This is Sheriff Haley.
Hello, Sheriff.
How are you?
He and his deputies rode into headquarters looking for you, so I brought him out here.
It was Luke Baxter and two of his men. We followed them as far as the Salt River country and then lost their trail.
How much money did they get away with?
$20,000. They blew up in the safe after shooting the watchman.
Where did you lose them, Sheriff?
In the vicinity of Four Peaks.
Johnny, you were raised in that territory. If you were in Luke Baxter's shoes, which way would you head?
South. I'd head for the section of the river where it's shallow. Then I'd go downstream a ways. I'd come out where it's rocky.
All right. We'll figure Luke is well acquainted with Salt River country, too. We've got to head them off before they reach the desert. Goodbye, Father. Sorry we have to leave so abruptly. I understand. Adios. Johnny Whitecloud had figured Luke Baxter's movements more accurately than we realized. On July 15th, as we neared the rocky banks of the Salt River, where a trail led west to the desert, Luke and his two partners were riding through the shallow water a few miles to the north.
how long we've been trailing those riderless horses.
Well, they must have taken to the river after they spotted us.
And where they'll come out is anybody's guess.
Sheriff, you and your deputies cross over and search the bank on the other side of the river.
Right.
We look for tracks on this side.
Well, looks like they've given us the slip, Captain.
Now, those bells must be from St. Thomas. I didn't realize we were that close to the school.
It's only a couple of miles away, Captain. The fathers used to bring us here for our swimming lessons.
Travis, you and the others keep to the bank. I'll ride over to the school. There's a possibility some of the children might have seen Luke and his men.
Jake, take these and keep out of sight. Wait for me.
Startled me. I didn't notice you sitting in the shadows.
You the head man here?
I'm Father Diego, in charge of the school here.
I got to talk to you, Padre.
You wish to make a confession?
Something like that, yeah.
Very well. Come with me.
I hear you priests can't repeat anything you're told in one of these confession boxes.
That is true.
Not even to the law?
To no one.
I'm Luke Baxter, Padre. Me and a couple of friends of mine held up the bank at Payson yesterday, and the watchman got killed.
These are serious things that you tell me.
We're on the run. The law's only a couple of jumps behind us. We got to find a place to hide out.
You'll never find peace that way. Trust in God to be merciful. Give yourselves up.
Oh, no, we're staying right here. Nobody will ever think to look for us in a church.
I cannot permit that. It might endanger the lives of our children.
You ain't got no choice, Padre. We're staying.
But if they follow you, surely the law will come here and ask questions.
That's your problem. As a priest, you can't say anything about what I've told you. And you're not going to say anything about us being here because somebody's going to get hurt.
Father Diego! Father Diego!
Peter, you know better than run into chapel and raise your voice.
I'm sorry, Father. I forgot. Captain Rynning's outside. He wants to see you.
Is he alone?
Yes, sir.
All right, Padre, go on out. Be careful. I'll be watching you through the door. Jim stays here. You'll keep me company until you get back.
Do as he says, Peter. I won't be long.
Now you're talking sense. You'll be all right, as long as we understand each other.
Have any of you boys seen three men around here that you didn't recognize? You haven't seen any strangers at all? All right, thank you, boys. Good morning, Father.
Good morning, Captain. I didn't expect you back again so soon. You children all run back to your classrooms.
The three bandits that held up the Payson Bank yesterday were trailed to the river a couple of miles below here. They left their horses and escaped on foot.
Oh? You think they might come here?
Well, I don't know. They'll have to get fresh mounts somewhere. None of the children have seen any strangers around. But I wanted to warn you to be careful.
Thank you, Captain. I will be. Very careful.
If you see any signs of them, please notify Ranger headquarters immediately. The men are armed and they're dangerous.
Fine, Padre, real fine. Shut the door. Move. In there.
He spotted us, so we brought him in here. I don't like this, Luke. It ain't right coming into a church and pushing priests around.
I don't care what you like. I'm not going to get my neck stretched just because you got a pain in your conscience.
It ain't no conscience, but it brings bad luck.
Ah, shut up. Ah! Fight me, will you dirty little Indian?
Let him alone. He's just a child. He hasn't yet learned how to compromise with evil.
Look, Padre, if you and your buddy do what we say, nobody will get hurt. We aim to stay for a while until things quiet down. Then you're going to furnish us with horses and grub, and we'll clear out.
Seems we have no choice in the matter.
No, you don't. And you're going to keep the school open and running as usual. Father Diego's staying with us, so make sure nothing goes wrong.
Do as he says, Rick.
Got anything to eat around here? We ain't had anything since yesterday.
There should be something in the kitchen. I'll go see.
Wait a minute. Kid, you go get it and hurry back.
Pick up any tracks?
Not a sign. Learn anything at the school, Captain?
No. We'll keep looking for their trail. Three men can't just disappear into thin air.
Sit down, Will, and relax.
That Padre gives me heebie-jeebies woman all the time. You would feel better if you prayed.
You don't need prayers, Padre. His liver's bothering him. It's yellow.
I've had enough of you, Jake.
Cut it out. We've got enough trouble without fighting among ourselves. Where's that Indian kid? He ought to be back by now.
I don't know.
Don't sound like any church bells I ever heard, Padre.
Don't forget they're rung by the children. Here at the school, we ring the bells many times a day. They tell us when to sleep and when to awake. They call us to meals and pray.
Hey, that's pretty smart, huh, Luke? Yeah, too smart if you ask me. Sounds like some sort of a code. Like a telegraph. If that kid's up to something, I'll kill him.
Just a child he doesn't understand.
Company, Luke. Law? No, it's another one of them brothers. He's got some Indian with him.
You expecting someone?
No, but monks from other missions do visit us from time to time.
Go on back out there and meet him. Bring him here. We can't take any chances.
Just a minute, you two. Bring your burro and come on over here.
This is a strange way to greet visitors at St. Thomas.
This real gold?
Get the rope off the burro. I'll drag him out of sight.
Johnny!
Peter! You don't have to be afraid anymore. Everything's all right now.
I was afraid no one would hear my message.
Then it was you who tapped out the SOS on the bell.
Yes, and then one of the men came into the tower after me, and I had to run.
Well, where's Father Diego?
In the chapel study, those men are holding him there. We've got to do something to save him.
Well, that's why we're here. Can you get up in that bell tower again?
Uh-huh. I'll climb over the roof this time.
Good. I want you to ring those bells. It's a signal to Captain Rynning that we've gotten into the school.
Yes, sir.
What do you suppose is taking Jake so long?
Well, Jake, who knows?
Well, I don't like it. We shouldn't have come here.
You're starting to get on my nerves, Will. This place has got you spooked. Who's ringing them bells, Padre? Who's ringing them?
I don't know.
Well, it ain't time for lunch and it ain't time for church. Who's ringing them?
Maybe it's that crazy Indian kid.
Take a look, and whoever it is, take care of him. And check on Jake, too.
know is your call to prayers, mister, and you'd better learn how to say 'em. Take that belt off.
Put your hands behind you.
Something's happened to Will and Jake. Something's gone wrong. I can feel it. Who was that monk that rode in, and that Indian? Answer me, who are they? Will you stop that praying and answer me?
God will forgive you for that.
Why do those bells keep ringing, Padre? Why do they keep ringing?
The bells of St. Thomas give comfort to most people. They are a symbol of love and peace.
Now give me the willies. I'm going to stop them. Stop them if I have to kill everybody in this school to do it. Get out that door. Come on, move.
Feeling of being trapped is not very pleasant, is it?
I'm not trapped. Not as long as I've got you in front of my gun. Open the door. Will, Jake, where are you?
They'll never answer you, Baxter. You're all alone now. Throw down your gun.
Captain Rynning, I'm riding out of here. I'm taking Father Diego with me. If anybody tries to stop me, the Padre gets a bullet in the back.
There he is, and he's got Father Diego.
Well, Captain, the bells of St. Thomas have served a twofold purpose today.
Then you aren't mad at me for ringing them so much.
No, Peter, I'm proud of you.
You've done much honor to the school and to our people.
Not to mention the reward of $2,000. I imagine the school can use it. We have to be on our way, Father Diego. Goodbye. Goodbye, Peter.
Vaya con Dios.
This is the story of 26 men who rode the Arizona Territory. High is the glory of 26 men whose courage helped to build the territory. 26 men who saddled up and then rode out to answer duty's call. 26 men who lived to ride again and fight for the rights and the liberty of all. This is the story of 26 men enforcing law within the territory. Praise be the glory of 26 men who rode the Arizona Territory. Ride on, ride on, ride on. This is the story of 26 men who rode the Arizona Territory. Praise be the glory of 26 men who rode the Arizona Territory. Ride on, ride
26 men, carefully chosen for their courage and ability, formed the Arizona Rangers. Fame and public acclaim was not their objective. This is perhaps why the story of these 26 men has never been told until now. Back at the turn of the century, when the nearest ranger was on duty somewhere else, the citizens of a frontier town sometimes took the law into their own hands. Their method of law enforcement was a rope.
What do you want? Clyde, you know what we're here for. Open up that door. You want to make a fight with us voters and taxpayers?
What am I going to do? I can't fight a mob.
You know your duty just as I know my duty. If a man has faith, there's no such thing as fear.
I'll take care of this.
Wait a minute, man. You've been drinking.
Yeah, sure, but we ain't stingy. We even brought a bottle for you. Look, it's my duty to protect all of us. This one isn't your duty to protect Apache horse thieves. Come on, get out of there.
Don't do this. If you can't believe in your own laws, what about the laws of God?
We'll hang that preacher, too. Why not? Yeah. Trying to protect those horse thieves, that makes him as bad as they are. Yeah, that makes him an accessory after the fact.
Can't be serious. This is a man of the cloth.
What's the matter with you? You're supposed to be a sheriff. Don't you even know the law?
Not only drunk, you're out of your mind.
Look, if you try to stop us, you're out of your mind. All right, here, take it. Go get those keys. Come on, take them out. Bring them out of there. Come on, hurry up. Come on. Yeah, I'll take that preacher. Go on, get him out. Hey, on, boys, take him to the stable.
You men got any last words you want to say?
I say to you both, have faith and you shall have no fear. Believe his words. This night we shall join him in paradise.
All right, Snyder, take it away.
You sent for me, Captain?
Yes, Travis. This is Mrs. Brigham, Clint Travis.
How do you do?
I want you to hear this. This young lady wants us to investigate a missing person. Her husband is the Reverend Dr. Matthew Brigham, there from Salt Lake City. She thinks something may have happened to him.
Something did happen. He'd never send a telegram, not like that second one.
Her husband went to Galeyville to set up a mission.
Why would he leave the mission? He'd only just started it.
She'd been waiting in Tucson till she heard from her husband. She's heard from him twice.
Once.
She got this first telegram last Saturday. It says that he set up the mission in a tent. But there was some trouble when 2 young Apache Indians were falsely arrested for horse stealing.
I'm sure he did send that one.
The second telegram, sent Sunday from Galeyville, told her that he had to leave at once for Salt Lake City and for her to wait in Tucson for him. Nothing else.
I'm sure he didn't send that one. Why should he go back to Salt Lake and leave me waiting in Tucson?
Mrs. Brigham, I can understand your anxiety, but I'm sure there's some simple explanation. Telegraph service from Galeyville is pretty bad. We can hardly get accurate messages ourselves. But I'll send Ranger Travis there to investigate. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll be back in just a moment. There are 2 other telegrams that she doesn't know about yet. The first one's an answer to a wire I sent to the sheriff of Galeyville. He says he didn't arrest 2 Apaches last Saturday night. He also says he never heard of a preacher by the name of the Reverend Brigham.
You don't think her husband's been lying to her?
No? Here. Now listen to this one, just came over the wire. Last Saturday night, a bunch of Galeyville drunks lynched 2 Apaches and a preacher named Matthew Brigham.
Who sent that one?
Well, it came out of Galeyville and is signed a friend. Let's hear from you, Travis.
See you, Captain. put my horse up tonight. Put myself up, too. Is there a hotel in town?
Mr. Lemke here runs the Crystal Palace. He has a few rooms. Talk to him.
What are the rates?
Got a new rule. We don't put up any strangers unless we know who they are.
Why is that?
Well, we get a lot of drifters through here. Some of them got bad records. We like them to drift right on through.
Arizona Rangers. Have to pay my own expenses. I hope I can afford a room.
Sorry, my rooms are full up.
Well, I guess I'll have to bunk in the barn. I've done it before. How much to put up a horse?
Stable's full up. Sorry.
Well, I'll say one thing for this town. If you treat all drifters the way you treat a ranger, you don't get much trouble here.
Look, you just run the newspaper, and I'll run the sheriff's office.
All right, all right.
Well, what do you want?
Ben Travis, Rangers.
Clyde Trevor, Sheriff.
Glad to see you, Ranger, but I don't think the sheriff is.
All right, cut it. This is Paul Cullen. He runs a local newspaper.
Galeyville Weekly News, if you can call that a newspaper.
All right, Paul, you can go. If the ranger here's on business, he wants to talk to me.
Now, if he's here to see about the lynching, maybe he'd like to talk to me.
What lynching, Mr. Cullen?
Well, he's got some crazy idea the 3 men were hung here Saturday night. He must have been drunk.
No, I wasn't drunk, but a lot of other people sure were.
Did you see this lynching?
No, wasn't there myself.
Well, you're supposed to be a newspaper man. Why weren't you there?
You're supposed to be the sheriff. Why weren't you there?
Because there wasn't a hanging.
Why is he here?
This telegram from here in Galeyville was sent to Ranger headquarters. Last Saturday night, a bunch of Galeyville drunks lynched 2 Apaches and a preacher named Matthew Brigham. It's signed a friend.
And what kind of a crank would want to send a wire like that?
I don't know. I thought I'd see the local telegraph operator. He ought to know.
I can save you some time, Ranger. I sent that wire.
You sent it?
I thought it was about time we had some law in this town.
Now, you listen.
I'm not here to settle any fight between the local newspaper and the sheriff's office. I'm here about a possible hanging. I'm sure the sheriff wants me to hear why you think there was one.
Go ahead and tell him, Cullen.
Well, I put the paper to bed about midnight Saturday night. If I didn't hear any drunks out on the street, it's because the presses were making too much noise. And if I didn't see the lynching, it's because I'm understaffed at the Galeyville Weekly News. I'm editor, publisher, the only reporter. I run the presses. Oh, yes, and I'm janitor, too.
Go on, Mr. Cullen.
On my way home that night, passing the stable, I saw Tony Snyder taking 3 brand new ropes from an overhanging sign. They still had some kinks in them while he was coiling them up.
Well, maybe he was just stretching the ropes.
But what did he use for weights? There was a hangman's noose on the end of each rope. The next day, 2 Apaches and a minister vanished from this town. Tell them about the Apache, Sheriff.
Well, there was some talk in town Saturday night. Seems that Tony Snyder, he runs a local stable, said a couple of Indians came in and stole some of his horses, drove them off to the reservation. Well, I went out and talked to these Apaches, but there was no evidence, so I let them go.
What about the Reverend Brigham?
Well, there was talk about a preacher in a new tent mission just outside of town.
What kind of talk?
Well, somebody said that maybe this preacher was hiding those Apaches. Well, I didn't bother to see the preacher. There was no evidence.
That's the trouble in this town. The sheriff can never find any evidence about anything.
Another telegram I'd like to ask you about. Seems the Reverend Brigham sent a message to his wife in Tucson saying he had to leave unexpectedly for Salt Lake City. This wire was sent from here Sunday morning, but Mrs. Brigham doesn't think her husband sent it.
Who does she think did send it?
She doesn't know. I thought I'd see the local telegraph operator.
Name's Whitmire. Sparks Whitmire. Oh, Sheriff, you care to join us? This way, Mr. Travis.
would anybody want to do a fool thing like that?
Sheriff, I don't think he meant it to be a fool thing.
What do you mean?
Why don't you go after him?
Well, I'd never be able to catch him.
Dead only a few minutes.
Sparks Whitmire.
Finally got his name in the Galeyville Weekly News.
Why do you think he was knifed?
Well, if you want my guess, it's because he sent a couple of telegrams he shouldn't have sent. The one I sent, and the one somebody else sent on behalf of Reverend Brigham.
Morning, folks.
Morning.
Howdy. Howdy. I'm trying to locate a preacher named Brigham. Any of you people know him?
We haven't heard of a preacher in Galeyville.
I understand a preacher and 2 Apaches were hanged a few nights ago. Know anything about it?
Come along, Martha.
Mr. Sobel?
Morning, Ranger. Get a good night's sleep?
No thanks to Galeyville. Let's go inside. I want to see your books.
My books?
Want to see if you saw some rope last Saturday.
What rope?
The rope used late Saturday night down at the stable. Brand new rope, still had kinks. You run the only hardware store around here.
I don't know what you're getting at, Ranger. I haven't sold any rope to anyone for weeks.
Maybe you gave it away. It was a lot of rope, Mr. Sobel. Enough to hang 3 men. That's a mighty big rope. Maybe it's even big enough to hang the men who used it.
Mrs. Brigham was in the office when your wire came through. She sensed it was serious and insisted on coming along. How serious is it?
Half the town went on a drunk last Saturday night. They lynched 2 Apaches and a preacher. Sunday morning, they got sober again. They've been trying to cover up the crime ever since. Nobody seems to know anything.
Have you found the bodies?
Not yet, but the local newspaper man helped me find something else. Think we can ask Mrs. Brigham to identify some of her husband's belongings?
No, I think so. I'll talk with her. Mrs. Brigham, they may have found some of your husband's personal effects. We'd like you to identify them, if you will.
I guess I'll have to face it sometime.
Thank you. Drive along with us.
Mrs. Brigham better wait here.
Mrs. Brigham, you better wait here. We'll be right back.
This way, Captain. That tent was pitched closer to town. Somebody pulled it down and buried it in the sand here. But there was a big rain the other night. Lots of water come down the arroyo and washed the sand away.
Is that the missionary's tent?
I left the sheriff here to keep an eye on it.
He left me here to keep an eye on the sheriff.
We found that Bible buried with the tent. No name in it, but some of the passages have marks. Mrs. Brigham might be able to identify the marks.
It's his Bible. Where is he? I know. I guess I've known since the Sunday telegram.
If you believe in that book, Mrs. Brigham, now's the time to do a lot of believing.
What's the matter with you? Don't you feel good?
Mrs. Brigham, I'm sorry. Paul, do me a favor. Take this young lady back to town. Take her to my house. Oh, and you might tell my wife I won't be home in time for supper.
Where'll you be, Sheriff?
I'll tell that to the Rangers.
Mrs. Brigham, if you'll turn the buggy, I'll escort you back to town. One thing I can say about Sheriff Trevor,
He's got a mighty fine wife.
Captain, it's a fact, isn't it? You can't prosecute anybody for murder unless you can produce the bodies.
It's a fact.
Got an idea, Sheriff?
Yes, I have an idea. I got an idea they didn't bury those bodies. They just didn't have that much time. Maybe they just took those 3 bodies over the old Perkins mine and dropped them down the shaft. Mine's been abandoned for over a year. Shaft's flooded.
How far from town is this mine?
Oh, I'd say it was a couple miles. Had to pump out that shaft. Pump's rusty and probably needs new parts. The only place I'm going to get those parts is Sobel's hardware store.
You think it's worth a chance?
Well, I'm not just playing it for a hunch, if that's what you mean.
Just what are you playing?
Let's say I'm playing a new hand. First thing we got to do is to go to Sobel's hardware store.
That ought to do it.
Watch out for that ladder. It's been in the water a long time.
Yeah, here goes.
There she goes!
Here comes Sobel with Tony Snyder. Wonder what's been keeping him.
What's going on?
What brought you here?
Perkins sent us. He's talking to his lawyer right now.
And his lawyer says you ain't got no legal right to work on other man's mine.
We're not working any mine. We're working on something else.
We're real busy. Now just turn those horses around and head back for town. Go on.
Find them?
All 3 bodies. Tied to what looks like a blacksmith's anvil.
For a man played a new hand, you sure played it lucky.
Wasn't just luck, Captain.
Oh, somebody leaving town?
He has to go to Tucson.
I'm going to get some new furniture for my Crystal Palace. Well, your Crystal Palace can use something new. In fact, the whole town could use something new.
What's he giving us the needle for?
He runs the local newspaper. Thinks it's his duty to needle everyone in town.
I only came to see you, Snyder.
Me? What for?
You own that livery stable, don't you?
You know I do. Why ask?
I got some business for you. Mrs. Brigham wants you to put up her horse and buggy. She's staying with the sheriff's wife. Well, I'll pay the bill myself.
Why didn't you say so?
Nobody asked me. Who can figure him? I think there's more to it than he let on.
If there is, we haven't got too long to get out of here.
Sobel, go tell the men who are in on the hanging I want to see them. I'll wait here.
The rats are quitting the ship.
Who?
Lemker, Snyder, and Sobel. And they're not the only ones. I saw them down at the stable. I think we can stop some of them. We block off both ends of the street.
Sheriff, you and Cullen cover the east end of town. Travis and I'll take the west.
Somebody in town talked. Rynning and Travis are out at the Perkins mine with the sheriff and Cullen. They're bound to find the bodies.
We're all in this together, and we'll have to fight it out together.
What do you expect us to do?
The Rangers will have to be disposed of. With them out of the way, we can handle Cullen and Trevor.
We ain't proud of what we've done in the past, Mr. Lemker. But we ain't drunk now. You do your own killing.
Lemker, you, Snyder, and Sobel are under arrest, charged with murder. Throw down your guns and you'll be given a fair trial.
You can't prove we killed anyone.
I'll supply the proof. Just unbuckle those gun belts and drop them to the ground. Drop that gun, Snyder, I'll kill you. I don't run a newspaper, but I think he rates more than the obituary column.
Page 1. The leadoff reads, "Today in Galeyville, a sheriff earned his badge. We as citizens will long remember Clyde C. Trevor, who gave his life in defense of this community." The Trevor place is about 6 miles over the hill. Somebody's going to have to tell Mrs. Trevor. Well, I guess it'll be me.
This is the story of 26 men who rode the Arizona Territory. High is the glory of 26 men whose courage helped to build the territory. 26 men who saddled up and then rode out to answer duty's call. 26 men who lived to ride again and fight for the rights and the liberty of all. This is the story of 26 men enforcing law within the territory. Praise be the glory of 26 men who rode the Arizona Territory.